Hello, everybody. It's really hard to speak after Graham. I suppose we have to take some pause, but okay. So I'm Nikolai Ryzhikov. I'm CTO of Health Samurai and Random Ideas Officer in FHIR community. I have another alias, but I don't pronounce it. So I'm with FHIR quite a long time, and our major contribution to open source stuff, it's a FHIR base, it's a database for FHIR resources based on PostgreSQL. As well, I participated in a project like FHIR.js with Josh Mandel and a couple of implementation of FHIRPass. And we started last year the new track on Connected On, which called the storage and analytic track. So you're welcome if you're interested how to store FHIR resources, how to do analytic, and how FHIR and databases can live together, especially SQL databases. As well, we are working on a commercial FHIR platform, which we call 8box. I will try to this answer on my level, not as Graham. So what is a FHIR? I should give you this formula for programmers. So FHIR, yeah, it's a standard and happy new normative standard. But first of all, it's a really community. So I've started doing the health IT maybe a decade ago, and I feel really alone. So I have a lot of questions and very few answers and very few people I can ask what to do. And then we found the early FHIR community, and people start answering questions there. And that was really nice. So the community and the growing ecosystem which is produced by these communities, it's libraries, frameworks, some commercial servers and tooling. So, and it's growing and growing. So yeah, it's a standard community. You can join our community. It's open and permissionate, so an ecosystem. So and I get back to my major topic of my talk. So the FHIR was designed for interoperability, to exchange data between the systems, but I think FHIR has a lot of valuable features to develop the new systems. So I call it FHIR first development. So let's try to go point by point. So first of all, if you did everybody develop digital health systems from scratch? Yep. So you should understand that the first challenge you will meet is doing informational modeling for this system. Yeah, what tables, what entities, and stuff like this. And this is really hard because the healthcare domain is complicated, and you probably will do a lot of mistakes. And you have to fix this mistake. So finding the good model is like solving the system of equations, which has many solutions, and equations added dynamically to the systems, and they break your previous solution, and you have to find a new one. So, and this is where FHIR can help us, because with FHIR we have a well-designed, good enough informational model where the dozen of experts spend the years to work on this model, and at least you can start using this model for inspiration, or at most you just can start using the FHIR model as a core of your information model of your system. So if anybody are familiar with domain-driven design, so it's a notion of aggregate. It's an entity with identity, and the FHIR built around the concept of resource, which is map one-to-one to domain-driven aggregates. Excuse me for technical language. So this is an entity. It consists of elements, and elements can be nested. This is very important that it's grouped into resources, because if you try to create a relational schema of the FHIR resource, you will get 1,000 of tables. And usually if you look into the legacy system, you have 1,000 of tables. And if we group it into the aggregates, it's, I don't know, simplify understanding a little bit. So that's good. Yeah, the FHIR come up with a long list of resources. These resources designed by working groups and split into domains. If you don't find any resource you need, please go to the FHIR community, ask questions, and work on it. I've seen a lot of examples how specific some domains getting better in FHIR because people join it and start working on it. So that's good. We have the informational model. So terminology. If you're working in health IT, I don't know, for some time, you know the coded values is everywhere. So you have dictionaries, terminologies, and stuff like this. And usually it takes some time to understand this and start building some unified terminology framework inside your system. So the FHIR coming with a nice terminology framework. So it has a few types for coded attributes. It has an idea of value sets. It's a set of codes which can be binded to a specific element of specific resource. So as well as coming with a terminology service which provides some useful endpoints to manage the terminology. So it's another great part of FHIR, and it's another problem which you have to solve when you start developing new system. So as well as FHIR coming with a straightforward REST API, so you have the endpoints to create, update, delete, and patch resources. You have search API, you have history API and transaction. You can do many operations at once, as well as GraphQL work is moving forward. If you look at this, it looks like a good specification for the backend, some modern backend. Yes, the REST API, informational model, terminology services. So, and it can be used this way. So, and another bonus you get with the FHIR growing ecosystem, so you will probably find the libraries and frameworks and open source or commercial servers, which really can save you time and resources when you and it's critical now in a dynamic world. So there's some minor problems with FHIR because it originally was designed for exchange data. There's some Graham is here. So okay, there are some problems to use FHIR as your core in your system. First of all, FHIR has extensibility. It by design doesn't allow you to create custom resources, and this is right for data exchange. Yes, you have to go to the community, to the committee, and discuss this resource. Yes, because it should be semantically interoperable. But if you're working on an application, you need this custom resource right now, right here. Yes, as well, FHIR has a notion of extensions, so you can add new attributes, user-defined attributes to existing resources through the extensions, but you have to use different language to do this. And they will live in some strange appendix attribute like extension collections. So I don't think that developers want to see this. Yes, I think developers want to see this, and we call it first-class extensions. That's what guys, for example, from analytic team doing the same because they need user experience for analytics. So we need this first-class extensions to make FHIR more developers friendly. Yes, because now it's our internal model. We need everything looking nice. So there's a crazy idea I'm trying to push in FHIR community. It's like UNIFY extensions definitions and the FHIR core definitions language. So we did in our platform, we just split the structure definition. I'm looking at it. We split the structure definition into element definition, and element definition not type, it's resource. And element definition can come from the user space. And you can use the same language to define extensions as the FHIR core team use. And it has a very interesting consequences. So FHIR sadly will have the version hell. We understand this. So the FHIR community working on automatic translation and stuff like this. But I think we can imagine versionless FHIR. So if we unify the extension definition and the core definitions, we can publish the next releases as a set of extensions. We can develop these next releases as a set of extensions. Graham doesn't listen to me. Okay, so and we instead of versions, we can use the feature detection because sometimes you need to just you need to know that this patient has a birth date. Yes, you don't care what version of the resource. And potentially, there's a lot of work. We have to rewrite all the libraries and stuff like this. But I think it's a possible future. Maybe Graham will look at this. So and this way we can be backward and forward compatible, because you can take, I don't know, the new resource from the next version and move it to your older version and use it right now as a set of extensions. That's my dream. So, as well as a FHIR search is nice for simple queries, but it's not enough for real applications. That's why we started this group for storage and analytic, and we believe that FHIR and SQL can live together. And you can use a SQL not only in BigQuery, but also in Postgres or in Spark. And that's what developers, which gives developers the extra power, expressiveness of SQL. So you can do any complicated queries you need in your application. So we're trying to prove this approach. So yeah, it's funny mistyping. So I wrote the FHIR first, and first it's not readable joke, but yeah. So we're trying to prove our approach. So during the last 4 years, we're building this FHIR first application. This is like an EHR, or it's a Cleo EHR specialized for dermatology or Narus Health. It's a care coordination platform, and they built that FHIR is a core model. So they built FHIR first. FHIR is inside. So and number of some digital startups. So we're trying to prove it in real. So as well, when we're looking at all of these systems, we see that some pieces of functionality are repeating from system to system. And I have a crazy idea that using this FHIR foundation, we have some reusable modules, reusable pieces, and we can get this Lego for digital health. So when you're starting the, I don't know, new specialized EHR or new digital health startup, you don't need to develop this common stuff. You just can focus on your unique features and get these pieces for free, so and put it together. Yeah, it's a dream, but let's see, we're working in this direction. So thank you. That's all from me.
Hey, thanks. Just following up on your last point, I'd be curious to hear some of the reusable components that you are labeling the Legos.
What was the question?
I'd be curious to hear what you think could be some potential reusable components.
You mean samples, yeah? So for example, we're thinking about extracting the billing module from EHR, because you get the file, you translate it to X12, you send it to clearinghouse, you're getting that. So it looks kind of reusable. Some stuff like patient notification stuff, yes, appointments management. So it's repeating from system to system. Yeah. So that if you think there's a lot of possible ways, maybe not just FHIR, for example, I don't know, some Stripe integration or CRM integrations. So we are looking for these pieces which usually some digital startup consists of, yeah, or EHR. The Smart on FHIR application is a good example too. Yeah.
So again, I hate to say, I worked at Health Beyond when we did the ANSI X12 transactions for HIPAA on the business side, and I've noticed that most of this has been focused on clinical. Is there any thought about, like for example, including or building resources around eligibility checking, payments, or anything like that, where the technology kind of converges on both sides of the problem? Because if you build clinical solutions and you need to get paid or do anything, you end up struggling because now you have to step over this crazy ANSI X12 format to get anything in and out of the system. I don't know if you know much about it, but it's pretty ugly. So
I think I can forward that question to Graham, yeah. Yeah. Repeat it? Yeah. Maybe Graham will.
Asking about ANSI X12, we have approached it with ANSI the X12 guys to recast all of that as FHIR resources, but I have no idea how the licensing thing is going to play out.
Thank you.
Another question, if I may. So we've been doing a lot of work with medical device integration over the last 7 years, and looking at FHIR for devices a lot of times. And I just want to hear some expert opinion on the status of this initiative, because last time, like every time I look at this, I see it's 11073 based, which is brain damaged. And I just want to understand that are there new developments wherever it happens in the community, because I was not following that closely personally.
Yeah, as I know, there's a working group, yes, for this, or not yet? Yeah, again, that's... The question is about FHIR.
Surprised to hear that it's the 11073 working group. That's why it's all 110373 base. But I tell you what, after the break you should hear from Simona and then tell me what you think.
Okay.
No, thank you.